Hello people! So I've been looking over some of the comments for Haseena Parkar, both the reaction and the discussion videos, and I noticed a general feeling in the comments, like a lot of comments, where people were basically saying that this film is glorifying a criminal, or at least the sister of one of the most heinous criminals ever. I don't know anything about this criminal. And that right there is why I think it's important that this movie exists. For at least for someone like me, for someone who's ignorant, who doesn't know shit about any of this stuff, like, I think it's great that this movie exists because then I can learn something. I'm coming from a very different perspective. You see this shirt I'm wearing right now? It's Daniel Day-Lewis from Gangs of New York. Now, this is way different because it's not as recent as perhaps this criminal that's being portrayed in this film is, Haseena Parkar, or her brother. Like, I know that's a lot more recent and therefore it's a lot more sensitive of an issue. But for someone like me who wants to learn more about this stuff, who wants to learn about what dramatic events have affected and impacted India, I think it's an important film for me to watch. And that's why I would check it out and review it, and review it as honestly as I can. The reason I mentioned Daniel Day-Lewis's character in Gangs of New York is because he's a central character, and he's a bad guy. He's a really bad guy. And what matters is, in the end, he gets his comeuppance. He gets killed for. I mean, I'm just ruining the ending for those of you who haven't seen it, but he's a really good villain. I don't know how authentic to the real Bill the Butcher the film is, but it tries to portray the bad guy as honestly as possible. And Martin Scorsese movies often explore stories with bad guys. Goodfellas is a prime example. And more recently, Wolf of Wall Street, people felt, was glorifying these crooked people, these people on Wall Street who are basically robbing Americans of their money, like just leaving them high and dry of billions of dollars. And when I watched Wolf of Wall Street, I didn't watch it thinking, wow, this is glorifying these criminal masterminds. I looked at that and I got angry, as I think was the intended effect. I think that Martin Scorsese wanted you to be upset when you watched it and be appalled when you watched it. I didn't finish Gangs of Wasseypur thinking, wow, I want to be just like Nawazuddin Siddiqui's character. You know, that's not my thought when I watched that. It's not, to me, it's not glorifying that lifestyle. It's showing the ugliness of it, of just how disgusting it is, and how that's not the lifestyle you want. And if you come out of that movie thinking, wow, this is glorifying gangsters, and I you know, it's making me want to be just like them, I think that, you know, maybe you need to talk to someone about that, because that's not what the movie's doing. It's not, in my opinion, this is in my humble opinion, I really don't think Anwar Kashyap is glorifying bad guys in his movies. I think he's simply telling stories about bad guys. And whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, bad guys make for interesting stories. Like Pulp Fiction is a prime example. The whole thing is about bad guys. It's about the underbelly of you know, in Los Angeles, I guess. You know, these bad guys who run the show behind the curtains sometimes. So I'm trying to say that I'm going to give the movie the benefit of the doubt that it's not trying to glorify a terrorist, that it's not trying to glorify a terrorist's sister, that it's trying to just explore this in an honest way. I can't speak for her acting. What's her name? Miss Kapoor's acting. I can't remember her first name right now off the top of my head. But, you know, some people were saying that she sounded like a robot or like a dying iPhone or something like that. I didn't catch that. I don't speak the language, so forgive me. I apologize. I don't know how good or bad her acting is. Me not speaking the language, it had an interesting effect on me. So I will try to examine it more closely when I watch the film, and maybe I'll come away thinking that it's bad. I don't know, but as far as I can tell right now, it's not the worst. Anyway, just today I watched a movie called Vikram Veda, and that was all about criminals on both sides of the law, essentially. And that, to me, is an interesting exploration, because that's something we deal with in real life. You got cops who are... I was thinking about doing a video on this alone, actually, about cops who basically have this incredible magic power. And that magic power is the power to indefinitely change the course of your life very easily. And that's a tremendous amount of power to wield. just so easily wield. Like, you can shoot someone and not go to jail. You can pull someone over and give them an incredible ticket that will set them back. Like, you have the power to change people's lives in ways that I think is just crazy. And so, anyway, that's a whole other conversation. It's a whole other topic. But one of the positive things I came out with after watching Vikram Veda was just this philosophical exploration about who is really the bad guy in that particular instance. I'm not saying that about Haseena Parkar at all. I just wanted to share my thoughts on that. Now, I could be wrong. I could be so wrong. Haseena Parkar might be totally glorifying it, but that's not what I got from it when I watched it. When I watch films about bad guys, I don't often think I'm watching a film that's glorifying a bad guy. That is, unless if I'm watching a Bollywood film where the main character is a bad guy and he's being celebrated in the music, then I'm emotionally, mentally confused about the tone, about who's bad, who's good. Admittedly, I had a little bit of that when I was watching Raise. I wasn't sure how I was supposed to feel because we were following a bad guy, but it felt like he was portrayed like he was kind of good. I really wasn't sure how to feel about that after it was all said and done. But that's a whole other conversation. There was still positive aspects to Raise. I don't want to. That's a whole rabbit hole I don't want to go down. But I hope that, when people do films about bad guys in the future, even recent ones, I know it's sensitive, I know it's hard, I hope some of you guys can kind of like ask yourself before jumping to the conclusion that it's glorifying a bad guy. Ask yourself what the film is trying to do. Why the hell would they make that movie in the first place? Are they really glorifying the bad guy, or are they just exploring for a deeper understanding about this person? There were these two brothers many years ago in the States. I forget their names. It was like 20 years ago where they killed their parents. And, well, anyway, to wrap that up real quick, they did a biopic on it on TV. They did not a biopic, but they did a movie on it on television. And more recently, there was an O.J. Simpson movie. It was a whole series about O.J. Simpson and the court trial and all that. That's not glorifying O.J. Simpson. That's not like making it glamorous at all. It was just trying to explore this story more deeply to shed some light on it. So that to me is what these movies about bad guys is all about. It's just voyeuristic. It's taking you inside and exposing you to it, what it looks like from the inside, because you wouldn't. If you're a normal dude like me, if you're just living a normal life like me, you wouldn't have any other way to explore that, to investigate that, to learn about it. And I saw one comment saying, I don't understand why we don't do more movies about our heroes. And I agree with that comment. I think that we should do more movies about our heroes. Like I was arguing a while back with Sintel, like, why don't we have a movie about the scientific heroes in our society, Find a way to make that exciting to watch. And the fact of the matter is, it's hard. It's really hard to find a compelling story that a lot of people want to watch that celebrates these scientific heroes. If you don't have explosions and violence and maybe sex, if you're dealing with a film in the States, some kind of sexual appeal at the very least. Mostly the violence and visual effects and stuff like that. If you don't have that, it's less likely to get butts in seats. There's a reason why Transformers is consistently a billion-dollar film. So, yeah, I agree with, how we should celebrate our heroes and whatnot. I just don't know how to do it yet. I would love to find a way. I think I have a way in my mind about how I would do it. It would require fictionalizing them a little bit. But, yeah, I'm all for that. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't do stories about the criminals, about the bad guys. Because a Scarface is another example. Like, some people take that as glorifying a villain, but I think that when you look at Scarface as a film that's glorifying a villain, I think you're looking at it the wrong way. I think you're taking it the wrong way. Scarface isn't glorifying a villain. It's just showing that villain honestly. It's about an anti-hero. So, anyway, I could go on and on about this topic. I would love to hear what you guys think based off what I'm saying, based off, my feeling. I would love to hear your response to that. Are you still staunchly believing? And I don't mean staunch in a with a negative connotation to it, because some of us just feel so strongly about our feelings, like that's just how we feel. It's hard to see a different side sometimes. Like, well, I'm not going to pick any particular topic because I might, shoot myself in the foot. But there are some things that I feel strongly about that I have a hard time seeing the other side of. Okay, here's a random one. It's going to feel so off topic, but one in particular, and I might sound sexist for saying this, but one in particular is this idea that men and women want sex just as much as each other. And I fundamentally disagree with that notion. Even I'll get into arguments with women about this all the time. I believe that men want it way more than women do, just because men want it all the time and women don't want it quite as much as that. They want it, but not quite as much as that. And so that's a girl can come at me and and tell me, well, this is blah 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 blah, and here's my list. I'm gonna be like, no, like you will never set foot in a man's shoes. Like you don't know what it's like to be constantly bombarded by the thoughts that your average guy has, and so just like a guy will never know what it's like to be pregnant. So that's that's an instance where I am staunchly stuck in my belief, and I'm aware of that. So some of you guys might be staunchly stuck in the belief that this Haseena Parkar film is clearly glorifying a bad guy, and Gangs of Wasseypur is glorifying bad guys and stuff like that. Like, I will be respectful and understanding if that's still where you stand and that's your position. I was just making this video in the hopes that maybe I can give you something different to consider, to think about. If not, cool, that's totally fine. But that's it. That's my only objective with making this little vlog thing. So you guys let me know in the comments how you feel, and yeah, I hope that the conversation is productive in the comments and not just hating on me for even entertaining the thought of talking about the Haseena Parkar trailer and the response to it. So that's it, you guys, and it's quite late. It's midnight. It's after midnight. It's not that late. It feels really late. I've had a long day. It was a long drive to get all the way out to Orange County just to watch Vikram Veda. It was a long drive. Like, total round trip was like 3 hours, and so I'm like, ugh. Anyway, yeah, that's it, you guys. Thanks so much, and I look forward to talking with you guys in the comments. I'm Jaby Koay. Peace out.